Hey everyone, it's a crafty crocheter back for another video. This is going to be Crochet with Me episode number 8, I think. In my last video, I asked you guys to ask me questions, and I have them here. So that one's open. So I am going to take Ella's idea and mix them up very well, and just pull one out and answer it. So today's questions, this is a short one. What do I do for a living? Well, I started working when I was 15, and my first real job was housekeeping at a hotel in State College, where my grandma works and my aunt works. So I was doing room cleaning there. I was a guest room attendant, or as most people call it, a maid. And I enjoyed it a lot. It was a lot of hard work. What is going on here? It was a lot of hard work. Make beds, bending down all the time. Okay, I am attached. And I had to leave my job because a couple summers ago I hurt my back pretty good, and just working and bending down and stuff, I hurt my back. I think picking my great-grandmother up off the floor when she couldn't move her legs, I picked her up and drug her out into the hallway, and I think that is where it all started. Because I am a physically strong person, I can pick people up. I picked my grandmother, my mom's mom, out of the bathtub with one hand, with one arm. So I know I'm strong. I know I am. And I think that's what really hurt my back the most, was picking my great-grandmother up off the floor and dragging her out into the hallway so that the paramedics could get to her easier than in the small bathroom that she was in. So I went back to work shortly after that, and I've been having back problems ever since. Now, being a big-chested person, I do have a lot of back problems. My posture is not great, but it's a pain that I'm probably going to have to deal with for the rest of my life. So I just kind of deal with it the best I can. I do go to a chiropractor, so it is what it is. I wouldn't change anything that I did that day. So I helped my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and I wouldn't change anything that day. So I was a guest room attendant for, it would have been, I haven't worked since July of last year, and it was 10 years. So I started when I was 15. So it would have been, I'm almost 27, so it would have been a while ago. 12 years, I think. I hate math. You know I do. So 12 years. I would have been there for 12 years. Which, that's the longest I've ever held a job. And I get SSI because if many of you have watched my videos, you would know that I do have schizophrenia. My mom has schizophrenia, affective disorder, so I got it from my mom. I wouldn't change anything that happened to me in my life. I'm not mad at my mom for giving this to me. She really had nothing in it. I mean, she didn't give this to me purposely. I've had it since I was 7. I was diagnosed with it when I was 7. So I get disability because of that. I'm mentally challenged is what most people say. And if I wouldn't have told you, you guys wouldn't have never have known. So that's the answer for that question. I was a maid. I'm no longer a maid. So yeah. I am gonna miss the people that I worked with. Not necessarily gonna miss the job, but the thing I'm gonna miss the most is the people that I worked with. So yeah. And thank you everybody for the get well wishes. I do have a it was a baseball size. Now it is a size of a softball on my butt. So yeah, so let's do, and my youngest is in here with me, which is the reason why I only have this much space. Okay. See? He's taken up my whole desk almost. Sorry if I'm making anybody sick. I don't tend to do that. Okay, next question. How many hours a day do you crochet? I crochet as much as possible. I crochet when I'm sitting downstairs. I probably crochet about, okay, let's say it this way. If I don't sleep, I crochet like 20 hours. If I do sleep, it's knocked down to like 15 hours. Okay, here's a question for you guys. When you sleep at night, I do this all the time. I dream about crocheting. I dream about knitting. I dream about yarn. Does anybody else do that? Like, I dreamed about starting a project last night. And I started it. I've been wanting to start this shawl now. I have had this variegated yarn in my stash for a while. And I kept saying to myself, I want to do a shawl with that. And I want to put white with it. So I did. And I am putting white with it. I like the, so as you know, this is my favorite shawl pattern ever. It is the Solid Triangle Shawl by Tea Time Crochet. I do not remember her name. I do apologize. Because I don't even know if she watches this video. But I love this pattern. I love her tutorial. She explains everything in detail, and I just love the shawl. It's easy. You can do it sitting at home watching TV. There's not really anything that you have to pay attention to. Just double crochet, 2 in the beginning, 2 in the middle, or no, 2 in the beginning, 2 double crochet in the space, chain 2 space, chain 2. Follow the video, you'll like it. I can guarantee it. This is my go-to shawl pattern. If I want to make a shawl, this is usually the one that I make. Because I love this pattern. Because you can do any kind of variation you want. Me, I like to do stripes. You don't have to do stripes, but I like to do stripes. I've made them in variegated yarn. I've made them in solid colors, just different. Another thing I want to ask you is I have bags of projects in my closet. And I don't know if I've shown them all. So I was wondering if you guys would be interested in me doing like a video like of my hats, of my shawls, of my blankets, just so you guys can see like what all I donate every single year. If you like that idea, please let me know in the comments section, and I will do my best to get them out to you. I I think I am going to start a knitting with me episode every once in a while, just because I am having some wrist and shoulder pain, and my chiropractor said it was a good idea to transition back and forth to knitting and crocheting, so that's what I have been doing. Yesterday I knitted, today I'm crocheting, tomorrow we'll be knitting. So yeah, it's a good idea. I got my knitting back out a couple weeks, like last week, and I'm really starting to enjoy knitting again. Like, I did have to rip out a hat because I wasn't liking how it was looking. So I ripped it out and started again. Let me rephrase that. I ripped out until I got to the ribbing part. Then I put my needles back on I put my stitches back on the needles and just started doing the knit stitch. What I was doing was 3 rows, three rows of knit, 2 rows of purl, 3 rows of knit, 2 rows of purl, and repeat. I didn't want to do that because you could see the exact spot where I started doing a different stitch. I can see why people, I don't know how to get out of that. I do not know how to get out of seeing that unless you put it at the back of the head. But the yarn I was using is very noticeable. It's a Wildflower from Red Heart Super Saver. Is very noticeable. I could definitely tell right away once I got really far on it. Of course, I wasn't really looking at that. I had to sneeze. I wasn't looking at that. So sorry. I do not edit. Old man is not feeling good again today, so he's already thrown up 5 times. But he's moving, he's walking around and stuff, so I think he'll be okay. But yeah, so I ripped the hat out. I felt really bad looking at it. Tonight I am drinking something a little differently. I have a thing with mixing sodas together. So tonight I mixed up a Mountain Dew and a Sierra Mist, and it's pretty good actually. And then I had some Pepsi left, so I just dumped that into it, and it tastes pretty good. A very ugly color, but pretty good. I keep telling my kid that if he doesn't like me touching him, he can go lay on the bed. Because I have to have space too. He's flicking his tail right now. He's not very happy. I don't think he likes me doing videos because I'm not paying attention to him. He doesn't like me crocheting either, I don't think. But I guess we're all spending quality time with each other. Bubba's laying out in the hallway. So, you guys want to do another question? Let's do another question. Hopefully I can get a longer one this time. What is it? What's the question? You guys know what the question is? I'll tell you. Okay, this is kind of a good one. What is your favorite colors and yarns to work with? Okay, so if you watch any of my videos, you know my favorite color is blue. If you see my yarn stash, you know that my favorite color is either blue or green. Because I have a lot of blue and green. I have like a huge tub that is just blue and green yarn. And my favorite yarns to work with is pretty much the store-bought ones. I don't do indie dyers. I have a couple skein of indie dyed yarn. Like I got one from Randy, and one of these days I will use it. It's just, it's really hard for me to get away from store-bought yarn. So yeah. My favorite yarns to work with, Red Heart Super Saver, Red Heart with Love. I'm not really a fan of Caron Simply Soft, but I will use it. I like Caron 1 pound. I like pretty much any yarn that's 100% acrylic, because I use 100% acrylic for all of my charities. It's easy. It's the easiest thing to take care of for them. So I like to use 100% acrylic for all of my charity donations. So yeah, Red Heart Super Saver, Red Heart with Love, Caron Simply Soft, Caron 1 pound, Big Twist, Vanish Choice, Baby Yarn, Burnett. Pretty much anything that's acrylic I like. So, and my favorite yarns to work with, like as in color-wise, I love to work with variegated yarn, because you can make the same thing 3 different times but get 3 completely different patterns, and I love that. I do like to make some things out of solid colors. Like my amigurumis, I do occasionally use, I do have a lot of variegated yarn, that's for sure. But I like to do this. If I get a variegated yarn, I always like to have a color, a solid color that will go with it. Because I'm never sure what I'm going to do with it. But I like to, if I get like a variegated yarn at Walmart, I always like to get a solid color that will go with it. That's just how I am. I don't know if any of you are like that, but that's just me, because I don't know if I'm gonna make, this is also a problem I have. When I buy yarn, I don't necessarily have a project in mind for it. If I buy it, it's probably on a sale, or I think I need it and don't realize how much I have at home, or I think it's really, really pretty. Now, every once in a while, I told my mom just recently that the only time I buy yarn is if I start a project and I don't have enough of the color to finish it something. Which usually don't bother me, because I have like 500 colors of everything. As you can see, my bookshelf is a little bit more tidy today. I did clean my room the other day. Actually, I think it was Saturday. Yeah, it was definitely Saturday. Because my gram got me up at 9 o'clock. 9 freaking o'clock. To take my books. I had 8 boxes of books that I'm never going to read, packaged up, ready to go to a face center. So my gram got me up at 9 o'clock. We packed my books up. We packed my books up, put them in the truck, took them up, donated them. Then we went to Walmart so my gram could get some cleaning stuff. Then we ended up going to Lowe's so she could get a sweeper, because the sweeper that we had was a pain in the backside. And I mean that literally. Because I have a pain in my backside right now. But yeah. Holy crap, 19 minutes already. But yeah, so we went to Lowe's to get a sweeper. Hi, honey. Where are you going? Can't you get comfortable? You and me both, kiddo. So, we went to Lowe's. We went up to the one that way, which is State College. Or technically, it's down. But anyway, we went to one of them. Because we live right smack dab in the middle, and it takes the same amount of time to go to one Lowe's as it does to the other one. So we went up to the first one. Got his paper, brought it home, and it was missing parts. And then when my grandma tried to speak with it, she noticed that there was a receipt. And she read the receipt, and it says, missing filters and missing parts. But it was on the shelf. It was on the shelf, and it was sold to my grandmother. So we called the one that's down that way. And they took it down to that way, because I was in the middle of cleaning my room, and I was in a really, really good groove, where I was just going and going and going, and I didn't want to stop, because I didn't want to get sidetracked. So, while they went down to get the sweeper renewed, I cleaned up my room, did some things around the house for my gram, and then hung out until they got back. And then when they got back, I put the sweeper together, and I had all of its parts. So yeah, that was that little trip. I know, honey. If you're not comfortable, why don't you go lay on the bed? I'll be over in a little bit, I promise. He probably doesn't believe me. I'll be over in a little bit. Go lay on the bed. Yeah, I know. But he chooses not to. So yeah, so I cleaned my room. Finally was able to see all of my bookshelf, because a lot of my bookshelf was covered up by my boxes, because I had 8 of them. I even had some on my shelf. Now, you remember in one of my previous videos that I got those like collapsible storage totes? Well, I found out that they're the perfect size for my bottom 2 shelves. Because you see the bookshelf behind me? My pet made me that. Because for a while I was really, really into reading. And he built me a bookshelf so I could keep all my books on it. And then I had my books on it until I wasn't reading that much anymore. And decided that I was going to put my books in a tote underneath my bed. And use my bookshelf for, guess what? Storage! So, I did. And, as you can see, there's a lot of yarn on that shelf. What can I say? You want to see that one? Whole shelf right there. And number 3 down, that's full of yarn, and do this. So, that shelf right there, full of yarn, and that one there will be full of yarn soon, because I'm planning on getting in my closet tomorrow and getting some of the yarn out that I have in a tote in there, and getting it out and putting it on that shelf right there, because I can, and I would like to use that tote for something else now. So yeah, that's my plan. I have a lot of plans for this room. I have, like I said in my one video, I have the space, I just need to figure out how to use it better. And my cat probably won't go to my bed until I go to my bed. That's how he works. Which should be soon, because my butt is getting sore from sitting on my desk chair. Which is like a freaking repeat occurrence, because I cannot wait till my black and blue goes away. So you guys want to do one? Let's do one more question. My cats have to be everywhere I am. If it's not one of them, it's the other one. Nope. Oops, I got 2. I don't want 2. Alright, we'll see if this one will be longer. Focus! Okay. How long have you been crocheting? Well, I started crocheting when I was in school. And then I kind of got out of it. Wasn't really interested in it. Then when I graduated in 2009, I was watching YouTube videos, and I'm like, I really want to learn how to do this. So, well, no, what really happened was my pap's mom died. And I was really close to her because I took care of her for 2 years, pretty much by myself, when my pap and grandma had to work. I would get up, I would give her breakfast, I would, give her meds. I was pretty much her caregiver until she went down to Florida with my aunt. So for 2 years, I took care of her. And then she passed away, and my aunt asked me what I wanted of hers. And I said, well, I know she used to crochet. Does she have any of her crocheting stuff left? My aunt was like, yeah, she does. I said, well, that's what I want. So I got a couple hooks of hers. I still have her hooks. I'm never going to get rid of her hooks. Still have her original crochet hook case. And I'm never throwing that away either. So I got started after she passed away, which was pretty much a couple years after I graduated. That's when I really got into crochet. Up he left. He's leaving. He's leaving. Yep, he's leaving. And then, so about 2011 is when I got really into crochet. I started, crocheting things for family. And, they liked when I made them, but they didn't use anything. So then that's when I started looking for other options. Like charity. And I won't go into that because that's another question or two. So, well, almost actually 28 minutes. Wow. Who would have thought I would have been talking for 28 minutes? But yeah. So I've been crocheting pretty hard since 2011. Seems like I've been crocheting longer than that. But, see, I'm a visual learner. I learn very quickly if I can see what you're doing. I can read patterns, like I can read amigurumi patterns and stuff. But if I see you do something, then I pick it up really quick. So yeah. You guys want to do one more question? One more question and then we'll be done. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments below. Leave them in the comments below, and I will definitely add them to my bag. I can lay that there now. Okay, ready? Here's a question about what got you into donating. It's just so weird that that's the one I pulled out. Okay, what got me into donating? Like I said, I was making things for family. Family wasn't enjoying them, so I figured I'd look elsewhere. So that's when I started looking for places to donate. My first place that I started donating to was the homeless shelter that I donate to. Hearts for Homeless. I do make a lot of hats, and I did make mittens for them, but I do not like making mittens. mittens seem like they take longer for me to make than hats do, and I'm just not into mittens anymore. If I make anything, it'll be fingerless mitts, which I do want to get into fingerless mitts. So then that was my first charity. My second charity probably was my local church, which is just up the road from me. So I got the homeless shelter, and I got the church, and then I started looking for other places because 2 places just wasn't enough. So that's when I called the hospital to see what they offered. And that's when they told me that I can make stuffed animals. Well, they told me that they don't do anything like that. So then I seen that post on Facebook for the preemie octopuses, and I made 12 of them right away. And called the hospital and was like, who do I speak to about donating these to the preemie, the NICU? And they said, we don't have a NICU here. I'm like, okay, well then can you put me to the maternity ward? So they did, and I started talking to a lady, very, very nice lady. And I was explaining to her, and I told her, where I found it at, and she looked it up while we were talking, and I was explaining to her, what it was saying, and she was reading it back to me, and I ended up donating 24, 25 stuffed animals to there. And I haven't got a call saying that she needs more or anything. So that was like my third charity. Then I started calling other places, and the one place my grandmother told me about was the cancer pavilion at behind our main hospital here. So I called them and I said, I make hats, mittens, and scarves. I said, what do you need? They're like, we need hats, definitely. I said, okay, I'll make a bunch of hats and I'll bring them in by Christmas. That was my 4th or 5th charity. And then I started thinking, what about nursing homes? Nursing homes have to need things. So then that's when I added on 2 new charities to donate to, which is 2 of my local nursing homes. I make them blankets and shawls, and I'm making a whole bunch of other stuff for them because I know that, and the one place I donate to is pretty much a place where family members put their elders, like their mom or their dad or their grandparents, because they simply don't want to deal with them. So they just put them in there and not visit them for a while. And I thought that was so rude. I said to my grandma, I'm like, that's not right. I said, how can you do that to somebody you're supposed to love and is your family member? So I started donating there a little bit more. And I donate to another nursing home that they save like little projects for like bingo gifts and stuff like that. So that's when I started asking on Facebook about like what else I could make for them. And that's when everybody said potted cactus plants, flower bouquets, walker caddies. I think I am going to take one of your comments, and please forgive me, I forget your name, but I think I am going to use a lot more cotton for the walker caddies because I do have a lot of cotton. I have a whole freaking tote of cotton yarn. Whole tote. And it needs to get used up. Keep looking at my forehead. So yeah, I have spent 35 minutes talking to you guys, and it seems like I've just got started. So I will let you guys go tonight. Have a great week. I know it is Monday today. almost today. By the way, it is 11:49 p.m. here. It is April 9th, 2018. So I am going to let you guys go. Have a great rest of your week, and hopefully I will talk to you again tomorrow night. Bye, everybody.